Hey y'all, welcome to Kamira's Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make the most delicious pecan pie bars. These are great as an individual serving of pecan pie, but I actually think they're better than your typical pies because this one doesn't have any corn syrup. It has a delicious shortbread crust, and those pecans are just wrapped in this caramel-like sauce. Oh my goodness, it's so good. Now I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and I am going to start by weighing my flour. This is the most accurate way, but I am going to be taking 3 cups of flour. In weight, that is 360 grams. To this, I'm going to be adding a half of a teaspoon of salt and a half of a cup of sugar. I don't know why people don't also flavor the crust regularly. Most recipes you see for pecan pie bars, they just throw in some butter, but they don't put any seasoning, no flavor. So I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I mean, this is really a cookie, and so I want a nice, delicious vanilla flavor. I'm going to mix in this 1 cup of melted butter and sort of knead the dough until it comes together. I'll start off with a spoon, but you're quickly going to realize that it's going to get too thick. Okay, baby, it's thick with 2 C's, honey. So at some point, you just, take your hands out and you get to business. You want to knead it until that soft dough is formed, and then you can place this to the side. Let me know in the comments how you are going to be enjoying your pecan pie bars, because I can tell y'all right now, when I was done, my dad drove to my house. He took him a couple for himself, my mama, and my siblings so they could drink it with some coffee in the morning. Y'all, you know that you shouldn't be having desserts for breakfast, but I can tell you right now, I saw my parents eat some pound cake pie, pecan pie bars with some coffee many a times in the mornings. Now I have a 9 by 13 baking dish. I balled up some parchment paper so that it would be easier to just stay down. Then I'm just going to spread out my dough evenly in the baking pan. Now y'all, you're going to think, okay, this is not enough crust. Okay, it's not going to work. Just keep pressing. Okay, I promise you it's going to work. Trust me. Now it's really thick, so it can be a bit hard to spread. So I like to break it up in clumps and just put it around, and then take a measuring cup and press it so that I can spread it out as evenly as possible. My oven has been heating to 350 degrees. I'm going to bake this for 20 minutes and then take it out. Don't let it go longer, because remember, it's going to cook again once you add that delicious pecan filling on the top. I have not always been a pecan pie lover, because I feel like the pecans that they used to have back in the day, like that fresh taste, that buttery taste, you don't find that often anymore. But I'm going to show you how to make these pecan pie bars with the fancy pecans from the Pecan Pantry. Now these right here, baby, these right here, they got that old school pecan taste, okay? You know them pecans that used to get out your grandmama backyard. Look at it. I know you see it, okay? Y'all, they got that buttery taste. It's going to elevate your pecan pie bars to a level you didn't know they could go. And y'all, I love supporting a small business in Louisiana. Y'all, they're good folks, just like a neighbor. So I want you to click on the link in the description box to the Pecan Pantry website. And I want you to use code Kamira to get 5% off and free shipping. Y'all, you will not be disappointed. These pecans right here, it's going to take you straight back to your childhood. And I also love that the fancy pecans are very affordable. So definitely check them out, guys. I have 2 cups of the fancy pecan halves. I'm also going to use a cup and a half of the fancy pecan pieces. I like to mix pecan halves and pieces for this recipe. It just gives a really nice texture, but you can definitely use one or the other. Now, this is one of my secrets to getting a great flavor. I am using some bourbon that I have spiked with some vanilla beans. Now, of course, all of you aren't going to have this. If you just have a little bit of bourbon, that will work, but it's really good. Instead of corn syrup, I am using honey. That's going to give a rich flavor. Of course, you're going to need some brown sugar, and I'm also going to use just a touch of cinnamon. It won't taste very cinnamony or anything like that, but it needs some flavor, okay? I also have heavy cream and butter. Most pecan pie recipes are literally just sugar, vanilla, pecan, and there's nothing wrong with that, but adding that little cinnamon, that little bit of honey, as well as, that bourbon, it's going to elevate the flavor and it just gives a nice richness. I'm going to combine the heavy cream, the brown sugar, the honey, the butter together in a medium-sized saucepan. And I'm going to allow this to heat on a medium heat at first just to get everything melted. And then I'm going to wait for it to start simmering a bit. Once you see these bubbles, you want to turn the heat to a medium low. Allow this to simmer for 2 minutes at this kind of steady bubblage. You're going to see the color start to get darker, turn a little bit more caramel. You want to mix it the whole time. Okay, mix it the whole time. What we're doing is creating a rich caramel. This is what helps hold all the pecans together. So it's not enough to just melt everything. You have to let it become that caramel. You're going to take it off the heat, cut off the eye. Then you're going to put in about 2 tablespoons of bourbon, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Then you'll place in all of your pecans. In total, this is about 14 ounces of pecans. You might be tempted here to think, well, I could just throw in some extra pecans. Honey, don't. Okay, don't do it. 14 ounces is really the perfect amount. It's going to give you the correct caramel to nut ratio for these pecan pie bars. Now just pour your topping all over that delicious shortbread crust and try to spread it out evenly. Something you want to be careful of is that sometimes a lot of the syrup will pool a little bit more on one side of the dish. So I just like to lean my baking pan around just to make sure that caramel is spread out pretty evenly, because y'all, that caramel, that is so delicious. Now I am going to put this dish in the oven at 350 for 20 to 23 minutes. Don't over bake it or else you might risk burning the syrup, but you're going to know it's ready when you see that it's bubbling and has a nice caramel color, and really you're going to smell it because those pecans are going to start toasting, and oh my goodness, this is going to be so delicious. But you have to fight. You have to fight the greedy spirit because you must let this set at least a solid 3 to 4 hours. If you cut into it now, it is just going to spill everywhere and be a big hot mess. I actually let mine sit overnight, and all I had to do was take a knife and just run it along the edges to help it pop out, because really that caramel has firmed up and become ultra delicious. This recipe right here is a diet crasher. When I tell you this will bust your diet up with one bite, baby. The sugar, the fat, the butter, the everything, the deliciousness, the bourbon. Oh my goodness. This dessert is so delicious. Y'all use moderation. Okay, use moderation. You about to be thick. Okay. But if you want to be even more big backed, baby, crumble this over some vanilla bean ice cream, and oh my goodness, you about to be in heaven. Y'all, let me know if you're going to make this recipe in the comments, and I'll see you next time in Kamira's Kitchen. Goodbye, and God bless.